All of us in the Ingraham household were, like most Americans, disappointed when this afternoon's SpaceX launch was scrubbed due to storms in the area. Mission Control decided the weather risk was too great to take the chance, so they rescheduled for Saturday afternoon, when they'll make a new set of risk calculations before takeoff is attempted again. Now, this got me thinking about risk assessments that we all make every day. Decisions big and small that have enormous consequences on our health, our well-being, our inner sense of harmony, our finances. Walking out of the house every morning instantly exposes us to risk. Stepping into a vehicle, buying a stock, even ordering at a restaurant, all involve a certain level of risk. But you think about it, if we never take risks, we never move beyond the status quo. We never innovate. We never improve, we never learn, we never grow. Now, while the coronavirus is novel, our approach to it, like our approach to every challenge, also includes risk. Letting citizens make their own decisions, determine their own destinies, well, that's the hallmark of our free society. Yet time and again, the left has moved to limit individual choices on very personal decisions. From whether you can buy a firearm, to whether you can even educate your own children at home, to the type of car you drive, to your right to speak freely on social media. Now, other than pushing for the right to abortion or maybe marijuana, many liberals today have become very illiberal. And their argument against your exercising your own free will, it's always the same. They claim that you're putting yourself and others at risk. And then they use scare tactics and sometimes skewed statistics to push their agendas, from gun control to climate change. And rather than passing actual legislation, they'll often do this through emergency decrees or other executive action. Now, indeed, this has been the pattern of blue state governors and radical mayors during COVID-19. They simply don't trust their own citizens, and at times, they seem to relish punishing them.
A political rally like that, where people aren't wearing masks and they're in close quarters and they are touching one another, you know that that's precisely what makes this kind of a disease drag out. That puts us in this situation where we might have to actually think about extending stay-home orders.
And she did extend the stay-at-home order. Now, also Andrew Cuomo, he needlessly push forward this complex plan called New York Forward. It requires only 7 metrics to get to phase 1 of reopening, if you can believe it. And this as his city is literally and figuratively dying. Mayor de Blasio still has no detailed plan to reopen New York City restaurants and bars.
So we're going to figure out how and when we could reopen bars and restaurants, how much outdoors is going to play a crucial role in that. I think it is a very, very encouraging possibility to lean to the outdoors. But even with that, we got a lot to figure out in terms of social distancing, face coverings, protocols, and what amount of capacity you could create that would make it worthwhile.
Now, 9 weeks into this, they still haven't thought this through. Now, I'd trust any random restaurateur to make reopening decisions over that guy any day. I wouldn't trust him to drive an ice cream truck, for goodness sakes. And notice how none of the rules that these power-crazed governors or mayors forced on you ever apply to them. The latest fraud is New Mexico's governor, Michelle Lujan Grisham. Here's what she's been up to. Well, KRQE News 13 has learned that in April, when she ordered non-essential businesses to shut down and lecture to all New Mexicans to stay home, a non-essential business opened up so she could buy jewelry and have it delivered to her. Again, rules for thee, but not for me. Now, of course, she's defending her hypocritical conduct with a spokesperson saying the store was never opened and a good, safe process was followed. The governor has, of course, in both her personal and professional lives, adhered to all the public health measures the state has enacted during the duration of the pandemic. Sure. She's on the short list of Biden's potential VP picks, by the way. Now, far away in Hawaii, a state with only, I kid you not, Again, one is too many, but only 17 COVID deaths. Democrat Governor David Ige, is that how you pronounce it, doesn't trust his own people to manage their own COVID risks. He hasn't even finalized a plan to end his stupid inter-island quarantines. Well, I was saying this earlier. The Aloha State is going to say aloha, as in goodbye, though, to any hope of recovery if it doesn't wake up soon. The angle, of course, isn't saying that the coronavirus shouldn't be taken seriously. We take it very seriously. The human toll, the economic toll, of course, we passed 100,000 deaths. It's just been heartbreaking. It's the enormity of it is it's sometimes hard to even take in. What we are saying at the same time is that states that have given more trust to their own citizens are doing better than the states who treat their citizens like school children. We believe that pastors at the local church are going to do, I think, their best to balance their duty to God with the duty they have to the safety of their congregations. And we believe that local, like high school football coaches, are going to balance their duty to their schools with the duty to their players and preserving their health. We believe that local restaurateurs, yes, will figure out how to best balance their desire to stay profitable with their duty to keep customers and workers as safe as possible. And look, if they slip up, this is where the free market comes in. They'll either be sued, they'll go out of business, or both. But let's face it, some elected officials never liked the free market that much. They prefer to keep a lot of you deplorables locked down and afraid. They want you masked, not just during this virus, but until the end of time. Because remember, there'll always be another potential virus lurking out there right around the corner. Don't you want to protect others? What kind of monster are you if you don't want to wear a mask forever? Now, they talk about unity in crisis while they turn neighbor against neighbor, reporting on each other for violations. But the truth is, they don't believe in their own rules. Because if Virginia Governor Ralph Northam was really convinced that wearing masks will save lives, he would have worn a mask at the beach last weekend. And if Illinois' Governor J.B. Pritzker really thought the lockdown measures were so great in his state, he wouldn't have let his family travel and risk their lives to go to risky, dangerous Florida and Wisconsin. And if Michigan's Governor Gretchen Whitmer really thought that traveling up north was going to put folks in jeopardy there, her hubby wouldn't have traveled there to take his boat out of storage. But all of these pro-lockdown governors were willing to take risks they deprived their own citizens from taking. But the risks are being taken anyway. What am I talking about? Well, investors today continued to bet actual money on the great American comeback. Think about it. They're not betting on more lockdowns. They're betting on reopening and recovery. The world is moving on. You read it, you feel it, you sense it. Now, I understand the medical establishment doesn't want us to move on. The media, they certainly don't want us to move on, and liberals do not want us to move on. But we are. We're moving on. We may not take, and have all of the talent of Elon Musk, but no one should deprive us of our own rights to launch our own dreams, raise our own families, build our own businesses, and worship God as we always have. And that's the angle.